Conference. Think just for a moment back to the Olympics and the Paralympics last year. Think back to the pride that we had in the Britain we showed off to the world. Think of the diversity of our athletes, the diversity of the crowds, the brilliance of the opening ceremony and the wonder of the sport, and the amazing opportunity that we had then as a nation to unite, but also to challenge past prejudice, to change attitudes, to celebrate that diversity, including the excellence of our Paralympians, such as the brilliant gold medal winning Sophie Christiansen, who we are delighted to have with us today. And Conference, that was only 12 months ago. But it seems a long time ago and a long way away. And we're watching those moments, that opportunity to build a legacy from the Olympics that this party fought for, just slip through our fingers, snatched away from us by a Tory-led government determined to divide. A Tory-led government that looks for people to blame. Disabled people who say they feel greater prejudice towards them than ever. North and South divided, as ministers claim the good times are here, but in Scotland and across the north of England, unemployment is still going up. Communities divided, as ministers say that disability living allowance is for scroungers, and they blame people for turning to food banks. Families divided, as ministers say separated dads can't have their kids to stay or pay the bedroom tax. And Conference, those ad vans, sent only to the areas with the highest number of black and Asian British citizens, those immigration checks at tube stations where it seems British citizens were asked for their papers because of the colour of their skin. Conference, that was not about illegal immigration. It was a disgrace designed only to divide. This is not our Britain. In Conference, look at the Britain that the Tories are creating. Hate crimes against the disabled up by 15%. Attacks on mosques up tenfold this summer. The disabled mother in despair because she faces an Atos nightmare. Women hit 3 times harder than men by Tory policies. Fewer women in the cabinet and in executive jobs than before. Black entrepreneurs denied the finance they need to grow their business, and for everyone, wages frozen while prices just go up and up and up. And as one mum told me last week, it's like round here, nothing comes down but the rain. And this is Tory Britain. All that progress that we fought for being reversed, all the optimism that we had in danger of being destroyed. And Conference, it doesn't have to be like this. You don't have to give tax cuts to millionaires while 1 million young people are unemployed. You don't have to turn your back on hate crime or discrimination. And that is why we in the Labour Party are campaigning now to deal with zero-hour contracts, to help families with childcare, to guarantee young people jobs, because we don't want another lost generation, and Labour believes that whatever people's background, whoever they are, everyone needs the chance to get on, the same opportunities to succeed. That is what equality means to us. And Conference, it's why Liam Byrne and Anne Maguire, working with Sir Bert Massey's task force, have been drawing up new plans on things like stronger laws against disability hate crime, because we should make rights and respect a reality for disabled people. And it's why yesterday, at Labour's Women's Conference, 1,000 fabulous Labour women, more than ever before, gathered to campaign for affordable childcare, equal pay, and an end to violence against women. So David Cameron and Nick Clegg are baffled as to why they are losing so much support from women. We're not. when the Prime Minister tells women to calm down, dear, he'd better get used to it, because women across the country are going to get angrier and angrier. They're not going to calm down until this out-of-touch government listens up. And conference, it's why we're working with trade unions to stop salami slicing of equality laws, calling instead for stronger laws against maternity discrimination, because it is an outrage that 50,000 women lose their jobs on maternity leave every year. And it's why we've launched a consultation on greater race equality for the 21st century, with proposals for strong action on unemployment and more ethnic minority recruitment in the police. And we know that policing must be for all. The police should reflect the communities they serve. And that is why we recognise how much has changed in policing because of one family's determined campaign for justice for their son, but also how much more we still need to do in Stephen Lawrence's memory, and why we're very proud to welcome to the Labour Lords benches the remarkable Doreen Lawrence. Conference, there is something we should celebrate this year. People who love each other should be able to celebrate their commitment, should be able to grow old together under the banner of marriage, whatever their gender and sexuality. And we should be proud that Parliament passed the Equal Marriage Bill, and proud it was Labour votes that got it through. But we know too that equality under the law is not enough, and that is why more must be done to stop homophobic bullying at school, in sport. Today, our Labour parliamentary team put on Stonewall's rainbow laces in the annual match against the press, following Everton's example to kick homophobia out of football. If only their result had followed Everton's example too. Sadiq. But conference, that Equal Marriage Bill is a challenge to David Cameron, because the Prime Minister was right to stick with it, even though the majority of Tory MPs opposed it. But I say to David Cameron, you didn't pander to the Tory right on that one, and we proved there was a progressive majority in Parliament and across Britain. So why pander to the Tory right on advans? Why pander to the Tory right on stigmatising the disabled? And why pander to your own prejudices about women? And conference, why does Nick Clegg pander to David Cameron every single time? Conference, this party has stood for over a century for equality. 100 years ago this year, Emily Davison fell to her death under the King's horse. Our first leader, Keir Hardie, stood with the suffragettes as they fought for the vote. And over the years, we have campaigned many times for equality. And Labour government ending Section 28, taking action on race hate crime, bringing in the Equalities Act. And today, One Nation Labour and the trade union movement, and our leader, Ed Miliband, campaigning now for greater equality, speaking up for those with the quietest voices, standing up against vested interests, campaigning for equality, community, diversity, for the aspirations of all, against Tory divisions, against Tory hostility, and we will do so again, because those Olympic memories we had, that vision of a fairer Britain to build, is not one this Labour Party will ever let slip away. Thank you.